We're crossing over to Abuja studios to bring in Michael Harvey, who is the mission director for USAID in Nigeria. What's the U.S.-Nigeria Agric relations all about? How much has been pumped into Africa's largest economy and most populated country? Mr. Harvey, good morning. Thanks for coming through on the program.
Good morning, Bosan. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Now, bring us up to speed in summary. Talk to us about U.S.-Nigeria relations in the area of agriculture.
USAID has been a big player with Nigerian agribusiness and Nigerian small farmers for a number of years. You have one of our largest Feed the Future programs in the world, and it's a program where we have an awful lot of optimism about the future. But we have that optimism despite being very clear-eyed about the constraints that confront Nigerian agriculture. It's highly undercapitalized, highly underproductive, and there's a lot of room for improvement.
In terms of financial technical support for Nigeria, how much has USAID done? What's the size of what you've done so far in Nigeria?
Right now, our programs are running almost pretty consistently at about $25 million a year. And that is a fairly sizable program for us. And it represents a significant investment in trying to get both the policy environment right in partnership with the federal government of Nigeria, but also trying to bring private sector investment into the sector, and also working directly with small and medium holder farmers to get their productivity up so that they can really start to engage in the sector as businessmen, not simply as smallholder farmers.
Where specifically are you interested in the entire Agric value chain?
The places you would expect, the big staples, cassava, sorghum, rice, but also smaller ones where you get where farmers can get very high returns, which includes aquaculture, fish. But then the last one where we're increasingly giving attention is the issue that you've been just discussed, which is cocoa. As you know, Nigeria was one of the world's largest cocoa producers, but we're seeing it starting to slip, especially with some of the new rising producers. And we're seeing that the quality and the productivity of Nigerian cocoa is declining rather alarmingly. But we think this can be turned around, and there's a great deal of interest both from investors but also local producers to start to get that sector back where it should be.
In terms of strategic partnerships and engagements, recently, just about a week or two ago, some funds were given to a few Nigerians who are into tractor business. Talk to us about this. You also come in to weighing in on technology.
The two agreements that you referenced were signed a couple of weeks ago with a Nigerian group called Baba Ghana and also Hello Tractor. And what's exciting about these is that these are initiatives from bright young Nigerian entrepreneurs who realize that there is money to be made in agriculture and that relatively small investments can get disproportionate returns. And what's fun about Hello Tractor is it's almost like an Uber, if you will, for farm equipment. Farmers who do not own a tractor but need one can literally just go online or go on telephone and order a tractor to come in, plow his field, he pays a fee, and off he goes, and the tractor goes on to do another field. It's a really exciting new model. We're happy to invest in it to see how well it can meet the need. Because, as I drive around Nigeria, I am struck how, as a farmer's son, I can drive for 13 hours and never see a tractor. And I don't think there's any place in the world where that would be the case. Baba Ghana is interesting because what it's trying to do is to bring in those capital inputs in terms of improved seeds, fertilizers, and improved farming techniques to show small farmers that, one, they can afford them, and two, that they will get a very, very strong economic return back. And if we can then begin to get a critical mass of small farmers who are using these new technologies, these new approaches, that you start to get the kind of productivity that will bring in the capital, if you will, for intermediate investments in the ag sector. We think it's going to happen. It's going to happen slower than it should, but I think there's reason to be optimistic.
Harvey, looking at where Nigeria is right now in terms of its economic balance sheet, and the talk about diversification and growing Agric more than just words and paperwork, what are your intervention concerns? What areas do you think the current administration can ramp up things very quickly, if you can call them the low-hanging fruits, as it were, not just to improve on food sustainability and food security, but also to rev up its scarce foreign exchange earnings?
It's a big agenda, but it's a known agenda, and it's one where I think we've got a fairly clear idea of what needs to happen. There's three major constraints: access to improved seeds, access to fertilizer, transportation links, and access to finance. And then there's one which is an overarching one, which is access to power, which is, as you know, hampering almost every economic sector in the country. Some of these can be addressed relatively quickly, such as seed. Some are right behind, such as fertilizer, where we're seeing more Nigerian investors coming in. Transport's a bigger issue, but it's doable, and it's got to be done because it's constraining the entire economy. And finance. Getting finance into the agricultural sector is proving to be difficult. Banks don't know the sector well. They don't have confidence in it. What we have done is working both with banks and small farmers has shown that it can be done profitably and cost effectively for banks. And we've succeeded in leveraging so far about $50 million in recent past to begin to oil that prime that pump a little bit more. Power is going to continue to be a major constraint, because without power we will not get the intermediate ag processors in business. And those are the folks that we really look to be the buyers from smallholder farmers. So if we can get these five constraints starting to be addressed with the seriousness that they need, we will see change.
Finally, USAID is spending about $25 million in Nigeria's Agric engagement on an annual basis. So the straight to the point question: what does the United States want from Nigeria?
What we want is reaches across everything we do, which is a stable, prosperous country. We think Nigeria is boxing under its weight. We think it can and should be a major driver of the economy for all of West Africa. And what I would like to see is, when we're talking about commodity prices globally, that one of the benchmark countries is Nigeria. As you know, you're one of the largest wheat and rice importers in the world, and at least in terms of rice, you should be a net exporter. And we want to see Nigeria contributing to that global larder, if you will, and not merely a net consumer. So we think it's doable, and we look forward to being there to help Nigeria realize that vision.
Yeah, I find out one very quickly, Javier. Well, thank you so much, but a very quick one. $25 million already, that's a lot of money annually. Are you topping up this figure? What's the next figure we're looking at? Looking at the fact that the population is increasing very rapidly. The youth, the young ones who need food, those who need jobs are also increasing in number. Are you looking at $50 million? Are you looking at 100?
That sounds like the argument that I've been making to Washington. The United States Assistance Program is, if you will, sort of like an investment bank. And where we see we get returns, we will make more investments. We haven't yet seen a head of steam get built up under this program, But once we do, and once we have successes, yes, I think we can see more money coming.
Okay, all right. You keep talking to Washington. We need more money. Thank you for your interventions waiting on Nigeria's U.S. Agric relations today. Michael Harvey, Mission Director in Nigeria, here for USAID.